Good evening, I'm John Carter. Welcome to Poland Daily. According to the daily newspaper Rzeczpospolita, a group of officials involved in combating the VAT frauds allegedly intended to manage the VAT mafia and extort 5 million zloty, plus another 860,000 between the years 2015 and 2018.
Podczas pierwszego rządu pan Banaś był szefem.
During the first term of office, Mr. Banaś was the head of the customs service, and we learned from the documents from the Ministry of Finance that back then massive amounts of illegal alcohol was being sold. As a result, the state lost more than 2 billion zloty. This document from the Ministry of Finance, the report from 2005-2007, reached the commission investigating VAT tax fraud. Employees which found out were mobbed, and a chemist who was working on it was even employed in the control of casinos and games. It all happened during Mr. Banaś's term of office.
Ten proceder.
We would like to stress that both Krzysztof B. and Arkadiusz B. at the moment of their arrest were no longer holding any management positions at the Ministry of Finance, nor were they even employed there in any capacity. In terms of the dismissal of Andrzej S. from the position of the head of the State Treasury, it took place immediately after his detention. The crimes connected to the VAT fraud are being efficiently investigated by the appropriate services, including the National Treasury Administration. No one who takes part in criminal activities can go unpunished.
The MPs and senators received a certificate of election from the National Electoral Commission. The Law and Justice candidate for the Speaker of the Senate is Stanisław Karczewski. The opposition has not yet announced its candidate.
We will have to look for such ideas and solutions which won't be introduced simply because of political party discipline, but because they will be good for the country and the nation. I'm confident that this will be an efficient and positive term of office for the Senate. We will be introducing our own bills and projects, since, as we should all remember, the Senate also has legislative powers. It will definitely be a different Senate to the ones we've had before. The way the mandates are divided, there are bound to be a lot of arguments, but at the same time I'm hopeful, since the Senate was always the chamber where fights were less aggressive and much more civilized. I hope that the arguments in the Senate will be resolved in accordance with political culture.
The LGBT community tried to organise the so-called Rainbow Friday once again today. The initiative promotes the sexualisation of children in schools. The Children's Ombudsman, the Polish Episcopate and the Ministry of Education expressed opposition to the action, which was taken without the parents' knowledge. The Ministry of Education initiated School Remembers today, with the participation from over 1 million students from 11,000 schools. The goal of the initiative was to draw attention to young people to the need to cultivate the memory of the heroes of our freedom.
The initiators of the Action Campaign Against Homophobia explained that their goal is to support young people from the LGBT community. One of the schools that took part is the Bednarska High School in Warsaw. No parents protested against the action. They are aware of what kind of school they send their children to. Our school is open for everyone. According to the lawyers from the Ordo Juris Institute, the action violates parents' rights to raise their children in compliance with their beliefs, but also it violates the education law regulations. There are matters that are just contradictory to the core curriculum. I'm talking here about the integral human vision presented by the core curriculum. It is not respected by the initiators of the action. The second thing is that the action is often organized without parents' knowledge. According to the publicist Rafał Ziemkiewicz, there is ideology and politics hidden behind the Rainbow Friday action.
This is an ideology based on the belief that the human is defined by his sexuality. This is a message that schools should protect the children from.
On the other hand, the Ministry of Education encourages schools to take part in the School Remembers action. This is the last Friday before November 1st. We want schools to prepare for this special time. Students started visiting their teachers' graves. They should treat this day as a history lesson. According to the Ministry of Education, over 10,000 schools declared participation in the School Remembers action. On the other hand, over 200 schools took part in Rainbow Friday last year.
Texas boy Jonathan Younger will not be forced into transgender transition without the consent of his father, Jeffrey. A district judge in Dallas, Texas, has ruled. The mother of the 7-year-old boy, a paediatrician, Dr. Anne Georgelus, claimed that her son is in fact a girl and wanted the so-called therapy against the will of the father. The case surfaced in 2018 and became a worldwide example of gender activist coercion. For a few days, it appeared that the fate of the boy was sealed. However, yesterday, a Texas judge overruled the decision of the jury who had granted custody to the mother. Now, both parents are equal in terms of custody rights, and therefore no medical procedure can be performed without the permission of the father. Thank you very much for joining me here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Business. It's followed by the weather, then it's the culture, history, and finally the travel.
I'm Aleksandra Zarzucka and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tonight. Clear skies in large parts of the country. Fog will sweep in around Białystok, Zielona Góra and Szczecin. The temperature will range from 11 to 13 degrees on the south. Pressure will be still low. And now over to tomorrow. Another sunny day ahead of us. Little overcast will appear over Warszawa, Zielona Góra and Koszalin. A maximum 26 degrees in Kraków and a minimum 18 along the Baltic coast. The warm weather will continue in the following 3 days. Sunday will be quite sunny except northwest. Temperature will range from 14 to 22 degrees. Monday will get alternating rain and sunlight. The temperature will fall to 11 degrees. On Thursday, weather will little improve. Temperature will increase to 23 degrees. More sunlight are expected. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
You are watching Poland Daily Business Edition. Polish LOT Airlines opened a link to the Delhi. You can fly directly from Warsaw to Delhi and from Delhi to Warsaw. And we have a proof for that. Professor Shailendra Kumar Raj from Management Development Institute in New Delhi just flew to Poland using this Polish LOT Airlines.
I would like to say, I would like to thank the Polish Airlines and the Polish government actually to introduce this airlines. And,
that was long overdue, sir.
Yeah, long overdue. And, before the airline got started, we had roughly 25,000 Polish tourists actually to India. And now we think that because of this airline, the tourists, from both sides will increase tremendously because it is cost-effective, time-effective, and fantastic experience in the Polish Airlines. The second part is it is going to connect the businesses actually from both sides because Poland is a country which has enormous potential but not explored at the same thing happened in case of India. Enormous opportunity but Polish businessman has not explored it. So it will also connect businesses of the two countries and both countries will have win-win situation. But credit goes to Polish Airlines, of course.
We already have a number of Indian businessmen doing their business in Poland, in Łódź, in other areas. And the question is, do you see the Poland as a gateway to the European Union? Like how Poland is being seen from the perspective of Delhi?
See, I, as an individual, I see a different, I have a different perspective of Poland. First time I came to Poland way back in 2006. Poland or Warsaw in 2006 and Warsaw in 2009 is totally different. First time when I came this time, I realized that it is like I'm in Singapore. It is like such a fantastic high-rise buildings, different infrastructure. If you go on the highway, it is the best highway in the world. And after Brexit, But I see actually that the companies, the financial companies located in London will be moving to Poland because of the cost effective, and also it is an emerging area, and Warsaw especially is ranked number 10 in terms of startup index. So which shows that it is a very right time, not only for Poland, not only for Eastern European countries, but also for entire European countries, because Poland and Eastern economies, this bloc will become the trajectory of growth for European Union actually for the next 20 years.
Well, it looks like you're right, because our growth is about 5%, and Germany has 0.2 or -1, and they're going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
The question is, two economies on the different sizes, different areas, and you are in Asia, we are in Europe. We are very much competing for capital, for startups, for new solutions. But what is the area when we can cooperate?
See, in case of Poland has technology, and that technology is cheaper than the technology available, the same technology available in Western Europe. So, which means that Poland can offer technology to India in many areas like chemical, coal, green technology, food processing, education, because they are also India is going to have, is going to become the second largest, online education hub actually after US. So Polish companies can also, because they have technology, they can also use that. They can also help, coal mines in India, which is predominantly dominated by Indian, government company actually, Coal India. So they can also, work there because they are using Polish machines actually in mines. The food processing, Poland is well known for that, and we have enormous opportunity, which we can offer to Polish companies. So all these things, in case of defense also, Polish have, airlines which use in the defense, from transporting goods for defense professionals. So all these areas are IT. IT companies are already in Poland, but there are maybe, a lot of support that we can do. And the most important, as you said, that we are not competitors. We have something to offer. Both sides have something to offer. It is like a complementary, not competitors. But Poland has competitors in Europe, but Poland doesn't have to compete with India. So we have something to offer to each other.
And that's very good news. Do we need any new... Does both governments needs to work out with some institutional solution to facilitate this cooperation?
One thing I would like to say that since many years, both the governments have only signing agreements and MOUs. But the ground reality is that we are today at the same place where we were actually a few years back. So which requires a special focus, which requires an institution to create an institution which takes the agreement to the next level and start pushing, the areas of cooperation.
This is also the requirements from the Polish side to see
both
India
sides,
as a serious economical opportunity and take this opportunity and use it.
Yeah, because our objective is that it is the youngest nation of the world. So our worry is also that we should not become old before we become rich. So that is our objective. The same thing in case of Poland, that at 5%, you will not be able to surpass or reach near Germany or France in one decade. So which means that the growth rate should increase from 5 to 8%. And for that purpose, they need acceleration in business activities. And for that purpose, India is the biggest opportunity for them, because Polish and India are close together in terms of family orientation. We have similarities in terms of finding innovative solution without having resources. We call it Jugaad. And the third is entrepreneurial, opportunities or entrepreneurial nations. So both have, young people who have aspirations and they want to create companies. And that's why Warsaw is one of the favored startup destination. Bangalore in India is the fifth favored city for startups in the world.
This is actually a worldwide legend. Professor Shailendra Kumar Rai, sir, thank you very much for this conversation, and I hope you are a little bit more aware of what is going on in India and what can go on between Poland and India.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to be on Republic
It's an honor
TV.
to host you, sir.
Yeah.
And that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Welcome back to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Another sunny weather ahead of us. Little overcast will appear over Warszawa, Zielona Góra and Koszalin. A maximum 26 degrees in Kraków and a minimum 18 along the Baltic coast. Let's see the forecast for our continent. On the Iberian Peninsula, temperature will fall to 14 degrees in Madrid and 18 in Lisbon. In Central Europe, we are expecting more sunlight and higher temperatures. Still warm in the Balkans. There, the temperature will range from 20 to 26 degrees in Athens. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Good day everyone, my name is Maria Kądzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. Being an artist those days ain't an easy task. The question is, do we at all need artists? We are going to convince you that yes, we do. In order to do it, a young Polish painter, Joasia Gąska, opened the doors of her studio for us. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for having me, Maria.
But before we start, let's have a look at her works. Joasia, you have a very popular vlog on YouTube with the nickname Joasia Gąska. It seems that it is a time for vlogging and blogging and internet on YouTube all together. It seems everyone is doing it, and moreover, people can make huge money on it as well. It's becoming more and more popular. Why is it so?
My vlog used to be popular. It's not that popular right now, I guess. And also, I'm not that much into vlogging. That was funny for a moment as a sort of performance, but performative activity. But I got bored with that. Well, this is a kind of magical sphere, you know, that you have to attract someone, people with doing whatever. It can be whatever, and this is so strange about that. And I heard that most young people in USA and in the Western world want to be YouTubers when they get older.
I've heard the same statistics.
Yeah.
So young people in China want to be engineers.
Yes.
And young people in the US would like to be bloggers and vloggers on YouTube, which seems a little bit ridiculous.
It's weird.
As well.
It's weird, and it's also very difficult. I invented some ideas for movies, but that was like 50 of that, and I got empty actually with ideas to talk about nothing on YouTube. So I don't know why people want to be YouTubers. It's a really difficult job, I guess. Seriously, it sounds like it's not, but it is.
So in your YouTube vlog, you make a lot of jokes about modern world, people addicted to things, to internet, to fame, even makeup. So tell us, what irritates you the most?
being clingy, I guess. I mean,
Clingy to things.
yeah, to everything. I mean that people don't even try to believe their intuition or what they would like to do, and they just give advices to each other all the time. I mean, Maria, you should eat something. No. Janna, you should eat something, and it's like all the time.
You should behave someone. You
Yeah,
should do
yeah.
sport in a correct
Exactly.
way. You should do makeup.
Look like somebody or like in such a certain way. Yeah,
What
and
was the most popular of your episodes? What we were doing there?
that was my first episode. I was having fun of doing makeup tutorials. That was very popular because I guess I see that, and also it's visible to everyone, I guess, now that girls are really tired of being forced to be beautiful all the time and to improve their visual side all the time and to be seen like that through visual side of their being, yeah.
And that's what you made fun of as well in this vlog.
Yeah, I was criticizing that, I guess, and after that episode, I guess it became popular. More girls awakened, I guess, yeah.
So there is an element of fairy tale altogether in everything what you're doing in art. It depends on internet or in vlog or in elements. Would you like the world to be more beautiful?
More livable, less brutal, less hard. Yeah, more livable, nicer.
So if you could pass a message to all young people who are spending hours and hours watching people doing stupid things on YouTube, what would you say?
It's always a good idea to look out from the internet because it's also sad. American scientists said that social media are very harmful for psychology of people because it's not natural to look at the screen all the time, and it's not just young people. It's just people. There's media everywhere. Media everywhere. Everywhere you go, you have media. You have on your smartphone media. You have media in metro buses. Everywhere. It's everywhere. It's literally in every part of reality, and it's not normal.
So we recommend you to switch off for a second and, for example, go to a gallery or to a vernissage of paintings of Joasia Gąska. And thank you for watching Poland Daily Culture.
Welcome back to Poland Daily History. In the studio, I'm with Anglo-Polish filmmaker Stefan Thompson. Stefan, welcome back.
Hello, Nicholas.
On a more cheerful note, there's recently been unveiled in Edinburgh a statue to Wojciech the bear.
Quite right.
A bear who fought with the Polish forces. Would you like to say a few words about it? Because this, I think, was one of your more popular films as well.
Yes, it was also a willful change of strategy on my part. I've covered some of the more unpleasant aspects of Polish history, from German death camps to the tragic episode of the Warsaw Uprising, and I was very keen to show the Polish spirit and the Polish war experience through something that sort of transcends nationality. And animal stories tend to be one of these
Always
things.
very, very popular.
Always very popular. In a sense, animals have this ability to inspire human beings and to evoke very strong emotions that tragically, surprisingly, and sadly aren't always inspired by human tragedy. I think as human beings, very often we can be more impervious to human tragedy and to human suffering than we are to the suffering of an animal. And I was very keen on, having covered some of these very difficult topics, I was very keen to cover Polish history through something more emotive and more story-like. And Wojtek the Bear is actually a story that I grew up with in the UK. And interestingly, it's one of those stories that is actually much better known to Poles in the UK than it is to Poles in Poland. And one of the reasons was this story was in many ways censored in Poland because of the links of the bear to anti-communist elements of the political emigration and of the Polish army that effectively defected to the United Kingdom. And it's a story, I don't know when the first time I heard it was. It's a story I feel that has always been with me, and it's one of these wonderful stories of, it's sort of, you don't really know if it's true or not, and it doesn't really, and obviously it is true, and that's one of the wonderful things about it.
Of course, yes.
But it has that element of legend and mythology and of growing up and seeing these storybooks with this bear carrying these artillery shells. And in short, the story is the Polish, when Soviet Russia invaded Poland in 1939, and on the 17th of September, they took many prisoners of war and they deported hundreds of thousands of people into the depths of Siberia. After the re-establishment of relations between the Polish government in exile and Soviet Russia, after German Operation Barbarossa, so the collapse of the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, the Polish army was allowed to reform in Siberia. General Anders was charged with this task, and he evacuated not only actually military personnel, but tried to evacuate as many people as possible, and led them out through what is today modern-day Syria. In modern-day Syria, some of the soldiers encountered a young boy with a bear cub. And in fact, there was a girl, one of the civilians who was there, sort of was very endeared by the bear and convinced the soldiers that they must buy the bear. And so they did, but in fact, it wasn't just money. They swapped some tins of food, and they swapped some chocolate, and there was a sort of wonderful element of barter in it. I mean, the story it's a wonderful story. And then the bear cub was initially taken in charge by this young girl. I mean, very soon it outgrew the girl and the girl's possibilities, and it required more and more food. And it was taken in charge by the army, who sort of treated him like another soldier. And they went from teaching him to salute, to drinking beer, to smoking cigarettes, though he usually sort of swallowed them after a single puff. But apparently he really was quite fond of smoking and of drinking beer. And eventually, as
proper soldier, then.
A proper soldier, and he was taught to stand guard. And there's a wonderful episode of him catching a spy. There's all sorts of wonderful elements. Anyway, the story, it goes on and on. But as the army continued moving through, eventually the Second Corps was charged with taking part of the operations in Italy and to join the British and American armies who were invading Italy and moving through towards Rome, trying to break the German winter line. And the bear wasn't allowed to board because he wasn't an enlisted soldier, at which point he was officially enlisted and given the rank of corporal, and was then loaded onto this boat as sort of wonderful accounts, and one isn't quite sure which of those is real, of the Brits in charge of this boat being incredibly confused at the soldier bear being marched in and being informed that he was actually an enlisted soldier with a pension card. He was obviously never handed the money, but he was technically
he did
paid.
earn a pension.
Yeah. And then sort of wonderful episodes of as the army was driving up the Adriatic coast. It's a wonderful story of him. Apparently was very fond of the sea, and on one of the stops, sort of bounding down the beach and sort of terrifying the local girls who were sunbathing. Anyway, all of this takes him to Monte Cassino. The Allies are trying to break the winter line, and one of the toughest campaigns of the war, Monte Cassino, this German bastion in this incredible Italian monastery, a beautiful place. And the Poles were charged with this task, and Wojtek the Bear, initially absolutely terrified of the shelling and the sounds of war, and there's very actually human reaction in a sense of this, the terror, the shock, the noise, the blood, the agony, all of these sort of this cocktail of very raw emotions. And but eventually, he apparently bounded towards a tree and tried to hide in a tree. Eventually came down and joined the soldiers and actually helped them carry artillery shells and carry boxes and loaded them up. So he sort of became in a sense, he became a symbol. And the wonderful and tragic aspect of the story, the reason I was very keen, the reason I believe that he embodies the Polish spirit, is after that campaign, he was then eventually taken to Scotland, where the Polish army ended up being decommissioned in 1947. And the soldiers didn't quite know what to do with him as they were being decommissioned and returned to civilian lives. There was this huge bear. And without really, I mean, not that they wanted to give him away, but you know, he was so used to this life, they had no choice but to hand him over to the zoo.
Right.
And the story ends in a sense, I think, in fact, in a sense, it was very personal to me, because I feel like that was actually the fate of my grandparents, who didn't want to be there.
No,
but there they were, and there was Wojtek, who apparently he was put into an enclosure in the Edinburgh Zoo. It wasn't ever mistreated or anything, but it wasn't
the same as
the wonderful sense of this, and I think that's very Polish. That sense of freedom and these open sort of spaces and battle and war and a journey and a sense of purpose and the sense of fighting for something. And I think all of that is embodied.
Ending up in captivity in a funny sort of way.
And in a sense, that's what my grandparents described the United. And I'm not sort of trying to denigrate,
of course not, but I mean, that's what
the role of the United Kingdom, but that's what they felt.
It's almost a metaphor of what happened to Poland. All this fighting, fighting for freedom.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all,
exactly,
for a variety of reasons, the nation finding itself or individuals finding themselves in what for them was essentially some form of captivity.
Yeah.
But that's actually quite a great story. So thank you for sharing all this stuff.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another scintillating, nay fascinating, even amazing episode of Poland Daily Travel. We're in the Museum Wsi Lubelski, which is a very special place with recreated village from the time of 120 years ago. I am joined by my friend Dagmara Karpinska, who is in fact in charge of promotion here.
Yes.
Is that true, or are you just making that up to make yourself sound important?
No.
It's actually true?
Yes, it's actually true. So.
Good Lord, because you never know. You could say anything to me. You could have just wandered up along the street here in the Skansen, and you could just be telling me that. But you actually do work here.
Yes.
Can I see some papers, please?
True. Yes.
Can I have a,
Here you go.
Oh, right. Dagmara Karpinska, how do I know that you didn't just go downtown and get somebody to make this for you?
Make this?
Okay, look, folks, I'm going to accept that she actually works here. Let's test her now on her knowledge. What do we have here behind us?
Behind us we have very unique
Can I wear that, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very unique wooden church. It's actually Greek Catholic Orthodox Church. As we can see, it's made of wood. It's really beautiful. It has 3 domes. Inside we have really beautiful and unique wall made of
talk to me.
Made of icons.
So you have a wall of icons. Now, this is a very
called,
special.
of course, iconostasis.
Right, and and these are all Greek Orthodox icons, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a very specific thing. I did not know in Poland, and perhaps other people will be like me, or maybe I'm just alone in being stupid, but I didn't know there was a lot of Greek Orthodox churches, or even any, in Poland. I'm surprised.
Oh, it's nice that you are surprised. But yes, there are still, and this is the perfect example in our museum that we have here. Greek Orthodox Catholic Church.
Yeah. It's still in use, you were telling me before, off camera.
Yes, it is unique when it comes to our church because it still functions as for local parish community.
How big is that community? Do you have any idea, estimate?
It's not so small and
like
not so big.
10?
No, it's
50?
definitely yes.
Maybe 50 people?
It's much bigger.
Are they actually Greeks?
No, they come from Ukraine. But they live here in Lublin, and they have an opportunity to meet here each Sunday. At 10 a.m. we have here Mass that is held here in Ukrainian.
So you have like the Greek Orthodox, you have the Russian Orthodox. What's the difference?
What's the difference? Because Greek Catholic Church is in union with Roman Catholic Church.
All right, so we're going to go and look inside with this so-called Dagmara Karpinska, who promises that she works here. Yeah, okay, right?
Right.
Good.
That's true.
Okay, let's go inside.
So let's go inside.
Okay, come on. All I can say is wow. Dagmara, you were right. There's some amazing icons in here. This stuff must be priceless.
Yes, it is priceless. You are right. So that's true. As we can see, they are really beautiful and they are really old. In this way, they are priceless. But on the other hand, we know that they play spiritual role. So in this way, they are also priceless, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's just worth having a look. Well, Dagmara, what is this thing behind us here that we just walked through the gate? What is it?
Behind us we have a special gate. It was designed by Stanisław Witkiewicz, and it is an example of Tatra mountain style.
Yeah, he invented a whole style, didn't he? Witkiewicz, the Zakopane style, they call it, right?
Yes, yes.
Or Tatra style, as you say.
Yes, Tatra mountain style, and it was made in 1903 or 1904.
Okay, so very early 1900s.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
and what was he trying to show? What does this style show us? Do you think?
This style shows us freedom. I would say freedom, because at that time Zakopane was a place that was connected with a freedom.
And it was under the Austrian control at that time, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it was under Austrian control. So Poland was partitioned, and by creating this style, perhaps he was showing that Poland had its own generic styles.
Yes, exactly.
And its own art, its own folk history that would not be subjugated. He was celebrating it. He was saying, okay, Austrian stuff is nice, but how about this great Polish stuff, you know, from the mountains? And it's very characteristic, though, isn't it? It's a beautiful stuff. If you go to Zakopane, you can see a lot of these, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And his son was a very famous,
yes,
perhaps certainly one of the great Polish artists and writers of the 20th century.
It's true.
Yeah, Witkacy, they call him.
Of course, Witkacy.
He was one of my favorites when I was first really beginning to read a lot about Poland. I really fell in love with his sense of humor and a sense of the absurd. I thought it was fantastic stuff. At any rate, this is his father's sort of work. And now we want to go and see the manor house, don't we? Yeah?
Yes.
You're going to show us that?
Of course.
That'd be great, yeah. There you go.